It is truly stunning, but not surprising how quickly the biggest anti-cancel culture activists have gone full cancel culture. They seem to have no shame. They seem to have no even understanding of what they are doing. And it is amazing how quickly the biggest advocates for never regulating business are now saying to businesses what they can and should say and when they should just shut their mouths and say nothing. Fox and Friends has been just one data point. Fox News in general has been just one data point of the types that have been railing against so-called cancel culture for months. Freedom of speech is under attack. They want to cancel Easter. They want to cancel prayer. They want to cancel Dr. Seuss, or blah, blah, blah. People and businesses are being punished by the left for wrong think and wrong speech and all of this stuff. And since the Georgia voter suppression bill has led to various organizations and businesses to say simply, we'd rather not do business with Georgia in Georgia. We're going to go somewhere else instead. Everybody has reversed. Donald Trump released his list of companies to counter boycott. Rand Paul says boycott Coca-Cola. Mitch McConnell says corporate CEOs should shut up about politics, but keep donating to me. And now Fox News isn't even pretending anymore. Here is a segment in which they ran a list of companies that have criticized the Georgia law on a crawl up the screen. And you will notice that what they are criticizing here is criticizing speech. Speech in which you criticize is just talking. It's speech. And they are saying punish these businesses for criticizing, which is another word for speaking. Check out this clip.
Let's look at the list. Other companies and organizations that have criticized the Georgia voting law. Now, we're not saying that they're boycotting, but they're criticizing. And that's where these things sometimes can start. I say sometimes, we can't tell the future. But Joe, from what you're saying, Atlanta, all of Georgia can be hurt by these decisions. And I want to point out who did their homework on Denver? Who did their homework on Colorado? Compare the voter laws.
I don't know, guys. I'm starting to think that the right may not be sincere about their supposed values of free speech and of businesses doing what they want without punishment and being against cancellation and being against boycotts. It's almost like they only advocate for these values when it's convenient and when it doesn't conflict with whatever else they want. And then they will quickly abandon the values when it does. And by the way, their list is now way bigger than any list I've ever seen on the left, which is like it's an insignificant but also compelling little detail. This is a list that the left can use, though. If you want, I'm not saying do this, but you could. If you want, you could look at that list that Fox News crawled, and you could contact those very same companies and say, I support what you were doing in speaking out against voter suppression. That's speech you could use to counter their speech meant to counter the corporate speech, which is part of the fight against voter suppression. Consider how absurd it is when people get boycotts going against Fox News advertisers, Fox News hosts and right wingers and Trump and all. They say that's bad. That's cancel culture. But then the next thing you know, Fox News is running a crawl with a list of companies they don't like that they want people to target. These people are pathetic. And this is why, I don't necessarily want to open up this can of worms right now. But some of you know that I've done interviews before with sometimes it's with enlightened centrists. Sometimes it's with anti-wokeists. Sometimes it's just random callers when we open up the phone lines who will say, David, you're not talking enough and being clear about your principle. What is your principle about A, B, C, D? And as I've pointed out many times, I have no issue talking about principles, but there's two problems with the talking only about principles. One, you end up in a philosophical, theoretical black hole that does very little to help you figure out real world situations. Most real world situations aren't resolved in any sensible way by just saying, let me run the facts through my principles and then I get an answer. The hard work actually is understanding how to balance values, principles, and the facts on the ground. That's really the work. And so I don't find it innovative. I don't find it productive, and I don't find it particularly enlightened to sort of recede from the facts of what's going on this planet and to just have conversations about principles and values. I think it helps you solve very, very little. And I've said that before. But the more, I don't know about more important, but the more pressing reason why just the discussions about principles in the absence of reality is a waste of time is that people will very quickly abandon their principles anyway. The principle of free speech and of being against business regulation, look at how quickly it's gone into the trash. Trump has released a list of companies to boycott. Fox News is running a crawl. Rand Paul, says boycott Coca-Cola. Mitch McConnell says corporate CEOs should shut up, even though his value is of free speech and corporations doing whatever they want. Why engage with people on values and principles when they only stand behind those to the point that it is politically convenient, and when it's not, they abandon them as well? All of these people are pathetic. They're all bad faith actors, and in some cases ignorant. It can be a combination of the two.